Oh, what's up, everybody? It's Richard right back with you to review the latest pro wrestling news and results and wrestling rants. It is all in weekend. We are less than 24 hours away from one of the biggest events in pro wrestling history, most certainly the biggest event in all elite wrestling history. That is All In from Wembley Stadium tomorrow afternoon. It's Saturday afternoon here at Wrestling Rants, and we got a little versus to cover from Thursday night's Impact versus Ring of Honor episodes, as we always do. The head-to-head battle every Thursday continues, where we take a look at each quarter hours from each show and compare, contrast, and determine who won the weekly Thursday night war between Impact and Ring of Honor. Let's talk about what else we got going on this weekend before we get into the meat and potatoes of this rant. Later on, there's going to be a very special retrospective rewind rant on the first ever All-In event from 2018 from Hoffman Estates, Illinois, where I've been to many times before this arena. It used to be called the Sears Center. It's now the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates. That's where I will actually be for Dynamite on Wednesday. We're going to take a look back at the first All-In, the first and only All-In until tomorrow's iteration of this event, and take a deep dive and see what that first event was all about, the match results, some thoughts on the matches from myself, maybe some trivia notes about the first All-In you may not know about. So we're going to deep dive in, almost like a mega rant style, a retrospective rewind rant looking back at All In 2018, coming up later today at Wrestling Rants. As well, we will be certainly doing a big laying the rant down, chock full of preview and predictions for All In. That'll be this evening, because I'm kind of thinking maybe on Collision we might get a couple more matches announced before the card to kind of finalize the card that we can break down and talk about it. Also in that laying the rant down, probably some more information on the death of Bray Wyatt, Terry Funk. I'll give some thoughts on the tribute show last night from SmackDown. It was a very emotional, very special show, with no question about it. And we'll see what else is in the world of wrestling for laying the rant down. That'll be late tonight. I can see myself doing a very late rant on that one. And then tomorrow, obviously, is All In, Wembley Stadium, London, England. Be looking for a mega, and I mean mega rant on All In soon after the show concludes. I'm just going to come right back on. I'm going to be probably even doing a live YouTube rant. So keep your eyes peeled, put on those notifications if you want to join me for the live rant right after the live All-In show in London. Sunday as well, Monday, we'll have an additional mega rant. That is from Sunday night's pay-per-view of Impact Emergence. So we'll talk about that on Monday at some point. And then, soon after that, we'll be doing a quick preview rant for everything going on for All Out Week in Chicago. Then I'm out of here Tuesday into Wednesday for all the shows. 5 nights of wrestling over in Chicago. Wednesday night Dynamite. Thursday AAW. Friday GCW, Saturday AEW Collision from the United Center, and then capping it all off next Sunday, week from Sunday, All Out 2023. All righty, let's get into Impact versus Ring of Honor head-to-head as part of Versus. This is from the 24th of August episodes, and just a quick overview on both. For once this week, we actually had pretty much a deadlock on the time of these shows. In fact, Ring of Honor was like 2 or 3 minutes less content this week than Impact. This may be a first. I do not ever recall this happening. And maybe Tony Khan took some sort of advice from somebody that these episodes of Ring of Honor sometimes are just too long. And this one was very easy to digest and watch. Only 7 matches this week for Ring of Honor. I like this. I think they need to stick to the 1 hour 20 minutes to 1 hour 30 minute format for this weekly episodic show. I just think it'd be a lot easier to kind of keep up with and be interested in the content that I was watching as well. All right, let's get into the first quarter hour of Impact. This is the last week from Chicago, and I'll be probably dropping a few more videos, spoiler stuff that aired this past week on Impact. They'll be coming down later today as well. There's not many, I don't think. There's probably a video from the Alex Shelley-Brian Myers match. I believe I have a maybe finished from the Chris Sabin Samurai Del Sol match to show. I think that's generally about it, but I'll take a look at what videos I have dropped, what I haven't dropped yet from that Chicago show, and there you go. So like I said, the last week, the taping from way back in July, it feels so long ago, it was only about a month ago, in Chicago for these Impact Chicago Heat TV tapings that spanned over 2 nights. So let's get into it with the opening segment on Impact. This actually rolled right in from BTI, where PCO appears to kick off this episode and pretty much attacks Mahabali Shera and Champagne Singh. Puts a Singh through a table, senton from the top rope on through the ringside floor. Bully Ray then was on the video screen talking about that he was back in his hotel and not going to be anywhere near the arena. So this plays up a storyline that kind of crescendos at the end of the show, relating to this somewhat. Gist of this is Bully Ray is just scared of PCO. He doesn't want anything to do with him. It's obviously going to lead to Bound for Glory. I have a feeling where these guys are going to be wrestling in some sort of street fight match. But as it were, Bully Ray was apparently not at the arena, and that was that. So PCO runs off from ringside, I guess, to go find wherever Bully Ray's hotel is, to find out where the fuck he is. All right, so opening match on Impact, Trinity over Jody Threat. This was a good match, great opener for the show. I really liked this match. Trinity didn't go over clean, but it was a very competitive match, and frankly, another match I'd love to see a rematch on. They didn't make the announcement here that, or it was more of a video package, that Sonata this Sunday at Emergence from New Japan, the IWGP champion, will be taking on Jake Something. Jake Something kind of promo here. They showed highlight packages for each guys. So just a little build for Sunday. Then they had a notice on Impact about the death of Terry Funk. That was a very respectable touch by Impact. I don't think he ever stepped into a TNA / Impact ring that I recall. I could be wrong, but I just do not recall Terry Funk ever being an Impact. So kudos to the Impact team for still putting it out there about the death of Terry Funk. Over on Ring of Honor, we had the matches this week also were a little bit longer, most parts. There was a few exceptions, but this is one that did have a decent amount of time. The Dark Order over Dalton Castle and the Boys. This was pretty good for an opener of Ring of Honor standards. Very solid, had time. Dark Order did go over in this one, and then there was a promo in the back as we continue the storyline that they've been kind of building the last few weeks with Athena and Billy Sparks against the Renegade Twins. Well, in the back, Lexi Nair was with Athena and Billy Sparks. Athena had shirts for both Lexi Nair and for Billy Sparks. I think the shirt for Lexi Nair was like Athena's #1 fan or something like that. And then Billy Starks got the Minion t-shirt. So there you go. They are set to take on the Renegade Twins later on in the show. The story with Athena and Billy Starks is basically that Billy Starks is kind of wanting a mentor, wanting a teacher. She's young. She just got into the company. And Athena's kind of this aggressive, bullying kind of type of thing where it's a weird dynamic. We'll see if it works. I give them credit for attempting to do something here in the storylines. I wonder if they kind of came up a little bit with this idea, given the success of Adam Cole and MJF. I guess time will tell. We'll see where they go exactly long term with this. I'm guessing it'll finally be Billy Starks has enough of Athena's bullying, bossing her around, and kind of a control freak of sorts, and then finally steps up to Athena and has enough, and then that leads to the program between the two. Quarter hour one, I'm going to give Impact, I think, for this one. I think that Trinity match was just a titch better than that opening six-man on Ring of Honor. Back over to Impact for quarter hour two. We got Multiverse United 2 highlights. You got to see that show if you haven't yet, particularly if you're an Impact or Impact or New Japan fan. It's a must-see. It was a really, really good. I think it was better than Multiverse United 1, frankly, in my opinion only. Josh Alexander cut a promo that he'll be making his return at Emergence as part of that 8-man main event. Diener went over Laredo Kid. I think I do have a clip from this match as well to post, so keep your eyes on that. Not much to the match. Diener made the match with Eric Young at Emergence, a no disqualification match afterwards. And that was really about it for this one, quarter hour wise. Over on Ring of Honor for quarter hour two, we had Kiera Hogan in there taking on Lady Frost. Kiera went over Lady Frost in that one. And then we also got immediately another match in this quarter hour, Matt Sydal over Serpentico. And one thing to note as well was there was a rotation on Ring of Honor of matches, once again from Dynamite and once again from Collision tapings. So I guess because of the issues with CM Punk not wanting certain talent at Collision, Tony Khan has let him get away with this, and we have essentially now have two separate Ring of Honor brands, Ring of Honor rosters on both tapings. I do not like the vibe of this. I guess they can do what they want, but it's just a weird deal. They should just tape Ring of Honor all at once before Collision. But I suppose if they want to try to get the crowd in their most jacked up state, maybe taping Ring of Honor a little bit before Dynamite and part of it as well before Collision is the answer. I guess we'll see. We'll see how this goes, this experiment of sorts. So for quarter hour two, I'm probably going to go with Ring of Honor for this one. I thought the Kiera Hogan and Matt Sydal matches were solid enough. Back over to Impact for quarter hour three. ABC went over the Good Hands. The match was okay. I'm just not really into the Good Hands, to be quite honest. Some Culture did a promo. They'll be taking on the Rascals on Sunday's pay-per-view. They did a vignette highlighting the feud with Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo. That match is happening also at Emergence. And then a quick little video, short video, music video type thing of Yuya Uemura and Joe Hendry as well. Over on Ring of Honor, we had a promo in the back or an interview with Lexi Nair and Stokely Hathaway talking about the stuff last week with Samoa Joe. This was a really weird promo. Basically, Lexi Nair walked off the interview and told Stokely Hathaway nobody respects him, shoved the mic into his chest, and walked off. Okay, then. And I really don't get where they're going with this stuff with Joe and Stokely. It's just a weird storyline. There was some hype for Samoa Joe and CM Punk in this quarter hour segment as well. They showed some clips of previous stuff in Ring of Honor with the two. I'm really looking forward to that match at All In, by the way. I think it's going to be, for sure, their best match so far in this reestablished feud between the two. Layla Hirsch went over Layla Gray in the next match. It was okay. Layla Gray is starting to really look good in the ring. Both cosmetically, she looks great. But ring work wise, she's starting to really pick it up well. So we'll see more of her. Also, the Embassy were in the back. They were talking about a match they have set. I think it's next week against Andretti, Darius Martin, and maybe Matt Seidel. I can't remember. I feel like we've seen that match over and over again, but it is what it is. And then also in this quarter-hour segment, we had Blake Christian over Brandon Cutler, who was out there with Colt Cabana, we have not seen in quite a while. I'm probably going to go with Ring of Honor. If you recall, if you guys watched the rant I did coming back from Chicago from these tapings, I talked about Chris Sabin and Samurai Del Sol match being a little bit of a disappointment. I think on a second viewing here, I enjoyed it more. There was a lot of groundwork, submission stuff, but it was well done. And there was some good high spots in the mix of it. I thought it built relatively well to a finish. If anything, could maybe add a little bit more time to it. But I thought this was a very solid match with Sabin going over here. The question remains, will we see Samurai Del Sol again or not? He is from Chicago, so this could have been maybe just a one-shot for him. Over on Ring of Honor, we had Tony Nese with Lexi there in the back. It's Smart Mark Sterling, just talking about their desire to do that workout thing again. It's just repeating itself a little bit at this point. And then we got the Billy Starks match. Billy Starks, Athena against the Renegade Twins. I'm into this storyline. I have to say, this is intriguing. There was some spots here where Athena looked like she was bullying around Billy Starks, but it was only to get to the win, like grabbing her and doing a maneuver on her, but dropping onto one of the Renegade Twins as an example. So I'm intrigued in this storyline. I'm very interested to see where it goes. This is what Ring of Honor needs more of, is compelling storylines where you don't really know what's going to happen next, and this was an example here. Starks and Athena did go over in this one. This was a tough quarter hour because I think the in-ring was pretty solid on both, but I am going to go with Impact for this one for the Sabin and Samurai Del Sol match. Back over on Impact, this is the last couple quarter hours here. Quarter hour 5. Crazy Steve, another vignette that they did where Crazy Steve was kind of talking about his past, talking about his history. I think the gist of it from this third one now is that he has officially gone crazy. All the shit he said before was probably a lie. If not, it explains his kind of quote-unquote trauma of the character. And Steve went absolutely crazy in this segment, attacked crew in the back. The spec in the back of the Impact taping was all astrewed. He just went wild. He somehow vomited green ooze onto somebody. This was fucking wild. Tom Hannafan was kind of held captive by Crazy Steve for a while. This was something. I'm interested to see where they go with this character. I think the first step should be do Crazy Steve against Black Taurus battle of, I guess what would be a formerly of that faction with Rosemary, which is kind of decayed, so to speak. Pardon the pun, but it doesn't seem like decay is no more. Also, MK Ultra did a vignette for the 4-way tag title match for the Knockouts at the pay-per-view. Also, they looked back at the history of Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian. They're having a quote-unquote back-to-school match at Emergence. So that is not happening at White Plains. I think I mentioned that before. It's actually happening on the pay-per-view tomorrow night in a cinematic match from Killer Kowalski's school. Alrighty then. Then we got the runners for Emergence, just hype. Nothing new really announced for the 1000th episode, by the way, other than I did see online that the Dudleys, Team 3D, are going to be together at that show, and not only are they going to be appearing, but they will be working a match. They have not announced who they'll be working against. However, maybe that will become more apparent after Emergence. Back over on Ring of Honor, quarter hour 5. There was some hype for the Adam Cole and MJF match by showing clips of past Ring of Honor stuff with Adam Cole. And then we also got Ryan Nemeth, the Hollywood hunk, coming out for a very quiet crowd, I guess you'd call it promo, that he was cutting in the ring trying to get the crowd into it. It was not working very well. This guy has like the opposite charisma of his brother Dolph Ziggler. Anyway, that got Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor champion, coming out as Ryan Nemeth basically laid out a challenge to anybody. Claudio came out, gave him the Cesaro swing, or whatever it's called now, the giant swing, for many, many seconds, and pretty much squashed Ryan Nemeth in this quarter hour segment. This is a tough one. I'm not a fan of Ryan Nemeth, so I'm probably gonna go with Impact for this quarter hour segment because I really did like the Crazy Steve stuff. I really did like that. And it's main event time for quarter hour 6 for each shows. Impact World title was on the line. Alex Shelley over Brian Myers. And if you didn't check this match out yet, and if you are curious what I look like with no mask on, then watch the opening entrances for this match. I get in Brian Myers' face. I'm doing this kind of boom kind of thing, trying to get him to make a reaction. I'm all over the TV on this one, so if you want to see me unmasked, there you go, folks. Shelley went over Brian Myers. This was a solid match. Interference afterwards from Moose and Bully Ray. They came out. That brought out Kushida and Josh Alexander, who finally showed up at the tapings here. And melee ensued. It was basically a brawl to end the show to lead to that 8-man tag main event at Emergence. And then also in the back, they showed Leo Rush attacking Chris Sabin. So the question will, I guess, remain on some level, will Sabin make the 8-man match, or are we going to have a mystery person entering the match? Time will tell. I think we'll probably stop Sabin as part of that. Over on Ring of Honor, we had a pretty good main event on this show as well. The New Japan World Television title was on the line as Zack Sabre Jr. took on and defeated Christopher Daniels. Once again, Zack Sabre Jr. stretching out his opponent for victory. There was some crazy thing involving a massive stretch of Daniels' kind of, I would call his shoulder and his arms tied. I think it's just tied up like a pretzel, essentially, by Zack Sabre Jr. to get the win for the still World Television Champion of New Japan, ZSJ. Boy, who goes over in this one? I have to say, maybe it was because I was there or what have you, but I did like the Alex Shelley and Brian Myers match for the Impact World title just a little bit better, but Daniels and Zack Sabre Jr. had a really solid match as well, so that's not really a loss. I think both main events were very solid this week, but it looks like Impact did get the win this week over Ring of Honor, although I have to say, very refreshing to see Ring of Honor cut down to about an hour, 25 minutes. It was so much easier to watch. There was not so much more filler in it this week. It just happened to be that Impact put their best foot forward with a lot of good in-ring this week, too, as their last week of the Chicago taping aired. So there you go. Impact with the win this week. Stay tuned, everybody. Probably early evening tonight, we're going to be doing a retrospective Rewind Rant, looking back at All In 2018, the groundbreaking, game-changing pay-per-view that essentially kicked off and started off the ball rolling for All Elite Wrestling. So stay tuned, come on back. We're going to talk a lot about All In 2018 as it's an All In weekend right here at Wrestling Rex, baby!